LTB News. My name is John Murphy. We're here at the Planned Parenthood on El Cajon Boulevard in San Diego to talk to you about an issue that's plaguing America: prostitution. This is the hot spot for prostitution in San Diego, and we're going to discuss some of the issues related to that topic with you tonight. Our field anchor, Derek, is going to be talking to some of you about some of these issues and what your opinions are. We're going to talk about the health issues, the safety issues. We're going to discuss some of the issues with human trafficking. We're going to talk about what we can do to make this safe and profitable through tax revenue for the whole county and the United States as a whole. So with that, I'm going to pass off to our field anchor, Derek.
Yeah, hi, sir. This is Derek Alexander with LTV News. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right, thank you.
We're out here today speaking to people about a hot topic issue, the legalization of prostitution. How do you feel about that? Are you for or against it?
Well, I think legalized prostitution can be helpful as long as there's certain rules and regulations that are implemented. For example, cleaner facilities, making sure that the workers are healthy and they take the correct, proper STD tests, and they're tested frequently so that they don't pass on any STDs to any other customers and continue spreading.
So you think then that if prostitution is made legal and that you have the testing for STDs and stuff, then that will lower down the cases of such things as passing on STD, HIV, AIDS, things in that area?
I believe so. As long as we have those rules and regulations in place and we can enforce them, I think we can.
Okay, what do you think about the crime rate that's usually associated with prostitution?
Crime rate, I think legalizing prostitution can decrease some of the sexual crime rate. I know I've heard of a study that legalizing prostitution can actually decrease the rape rate by 25%. And just that alone is a great data point just for legalizing prostitution.
Sir, and sir, are you aware that El Cajon Boulevard here is one of the most trafficking areas for prostitution?
I am.
And how do you feel about that? Have you noticed a lot of crime? Or
I personally have not. However, I don't usually go in that area. One thing that I think should happen is that we can centralize the facilities, the brothels that will be implemented, and we can keep them away from residential areas and school areas. This way, people who want to go to these legalized brothels, they know where to go. Anyone who doesn't want anything to do with it, they know where it's at, so they can stay away from that area.
Okay, so I really appreciate your time. I just have one final question for you. Are you a married man?
I am.
So, and you are for legalization of prostitution?
I am for it. However, I personally would not use the services, but that doesn't mean that I don't think that it could be favorable in many areas, such as sexual crime rates, and as long as the facilities and the facilities are regulated and rules are implemented, I think it can be a good thing.
Great. We thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And we're going to try to get another person out here to give their opinion today on the legalization of prostitution. Good evening. This is Derek Alexander with LTV News, and we're here today to talk to pedestrians coming by about a very hot topic, prostitution. And so I've stopped this gentleman here. Sir, are you for or against prostitution?
I'm actually for prostitution.
And what do you think would be the laws, or do we need to change the laws and regulations in order to be able to make prostitution more good and safe?
Well, before addressing the laws, I would like to address that definition of prostitution. First of all, I think we need to come down with a definition of prostitution that is down the board, where everybody understands what prostitution is. But on the other hand, laws do need to be changed. This comes in the other part where some laws are discriminatory against not only employees, but also females. Where meaning in prostitution, it must be understood that there's females and male prostitutes. Now, this occurring, why is it that in the law, when a female gets caught, they're treated worse than when a male gets caught in prostitution? I think when it comes down to it, everybody should be treated the same. And when it also comes to laws, there is that part of privacy. So for that part, I do stand for prostitution.
Okay, now are you aware that El Cajon Boulevard here is one of the main hubs for prostitution?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, and are you a father?
Yes, I am.
Do you have sons or daughters?
I have 2 sons.
And how do you feel about trafficking? Do you feel like this might, with the legalization of prostitution, might threaten them?
Well, that's where it needs to be brought out for that human trafficking is a problem on its own. Yes, I understand that prostitution does give some input to the human trafficking problem, but we must understand that prostitution needs to be seen on its own, and human trafficking needs to be seen on its own as well. Where if we deal with prostitution, we come down to what we need to handle with the sex industry, address it as a problem, where prostitution becomes legalized. We address the problem. When it comes to human trafficking, like you're telling me, that's a problem on its own. We can't put them together. We need to address them totally different.
Okay, I'd really like to thank you for your time. And again, you are pro prostitution.
Yes, I am, and I'm gonna continue staying with that because I believe that if we bring it out in the sex industry that there is problems, we confront those problems, then we have that energy and everything to confront other problems that are within prostitution. But the legalization of prostitution is not the problem, therefore I stand firm on my point where we should legalize prostitution.
Thank you very much for your time. You have a nice weekend, sir.
Thank you very much.
This is Derek Alexander again with LTV News. We're going to try to get one other person before we close it out this evening. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back. Yeah, this is Derek Alexander back again with LTV News, discussing the hot topic of prostitution. Should it be legal or non-legal? And today we also have one other spokesman here who I believe is in favor of prostitution, sir?
Yeah, that is correct. I'm in favor of legalizing prostitution.
And maybe you could discuss us how you would legalize prostitution.
Well, first of all, let me tell you why I want to legalize prostitution. I believe that our solution for this hot topic, which is affecting society in general, would be if we take a few proactive steps towards bringing a real solution to it. And one of them would be to basically reduce the violent attack against these women. If we have locations like a brothel where these women would be able to work out of, and they would have a safer work environment, they would have security guards on site, they would have a clean work environment, they would be protective, and studies show that in brothels like the ones that are legal in Nevada, rapes and attacks, physical and emotional attacks on these women were reduced by over 82% in some of these brothels. So if we bring this back down to California, it would definitely help with the reduction of violence against women like this. And that's why I'm in favor of legalizing prostitution.
Do you also feel like this would help the police department?
You know, that is a very loaded question. The reason why that is such an important question is because study shows that just in the city of Los Angeles, in 1 year, the LAPD department, they spent over $120 million in arresting prostitutes and johns. And that's $120 million that could have been used for the police department to gear their efforts towards terrorism attacks, towards gang violence, towards drug addiction, and some other crimes that are really affecting our society. Prostitution is really a victimless crime. You are talking about a consulting woman with a consulting man, or two men or two women, but they're two consenting adults that are agreeing to a service that's being asked for and a service that's being provided. Therefore, it would affect in a positive way our police department, because they would say, hey, instead of spending all this time and all this effort and all this financial effort on pursuing the arrest of prostitutes, we could direct that towards something that would bring more of a positive effect to our society.
So you're saying that in order to make prostitution legal, that the adults participating would also have to be of legal age.
Definitely. What I'm saying is there's never going to be room for human trafficking. There's never going to be room for child abuse. And we have to separate those issues. We are talking about the sex industry on its own. And we're talking about adults that are consenting, that have full knowledge of what they're doing, and they are responsible for their actions. So there would be a brothel where women would be screened, and there would be background checks. There would be STD testing required for them to be able to work there, and the customers would be required to wear and use a condom. So this would be, like I said, it would be a healthier, cleaner work environment, not only for the prostitutes, but also for their customers.
Okay, Sarah, one final question. Are you a married man?
I am a married man, and this is exactly why I am pro-legalizing prostitution. As a married man, I am in favor of our state gathering all those tax dollars that are not getting paid right now by this under-the-table deals and under-the-table black market type of business that is going on. There are millions of dollars that could be of benefit and tax revenue to the state of California. For us married folk, that would be awesome if those tax dollars could go towards school programs, could go towards education, could go towards grants and libraries and different programs that would help and assist community. So when you're talking about prostitution, it is important that we understand that this is not about morals or religion. It's not about whether we're married or not. This is about earning all these tax dollars for our state and for our local government so that they can take that and make it something positive for the entire society. With that said, let me tell you something else. What I would do is I would write this into a bill. I would take it to local and state governments. I would have them sign and pass this bill with rules, regulations that would become laws, and the owners of these brothels would have to abide by those regulations. These women that are going to get hired would have to go through a very thorough screening process, both health-wise and a background check. The brothels would have security guards on site, well-trained. There would be continuous inspections of these places. There would be STD checks required for the employees. The use of condoms would be something for the customers that would be a must. That wouldn't be an optional thing. And the fees would be also regulated for the services that these women or these men are providing for their customers, thus providing a steady income of claimed tax dollars, which would help, like I said, local, state, and even up to the federal government.
Great. Well, sir, I want to thank you very much for your time today. You've been very helpful. This is Derek Alexander with LTV News. As you can see, the subject of prostitution is a very hot topic. It's been called the oldest profession for a reason. We hope that you stay tuned, and I'm sure that we will be hearing more on this topic within the future. Again, this is Derek Alexander, LTV News.
There you have it, San Diego. The opinions are in, and that we believe that the legalization of prostitution is what's going to be best for San Diego and the state of California. There are some caveats that come with this. We need laws that are going to regulate prostitution. There needs to be a safe environment, such as brothels, that's going to protect both the women and the customers. There needs to be mandatory health care for the escorts. There will also be bi-weekly STD testing for all of the escorts. What we say is this is going to be what's best for San Diego. I hope you agree. Say no to human trafficking, say no to untaxed revenue, and say no to the abuse of women. Good night, San Diego.